In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 NBA games happening on February 7, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Milwaukee Bucks versus Atlanta Hawks. The Milwaukee Bucks are set to travel to Atlanta to take on the Hawks this Friday at State Farm Arena. Milwaukee, currently holding a 28-22 straight-up record and a 22-27-1 mark against the spread, secured a 112-102 victory over the Charlotte Hornets on Wednesday night. The Bucks entered that game as -10.5-point favorites and managed to cover the spread. Meanwhile, Atlanta has struggled with consistency, as evidenced by their 23-28 straight-up and 23-28 against the spread records. The Hawks suffered a narrow 126-125 defeat at home against the San Antonio Spurs on Wednesday, despite entering the contest as +4-point underdogs. These two teams have already faced off twice this season, splitting their first 2 meetings. In their last 10 head-to-head matchups, Milwaukee holds the advantage with a 6-4 record both straight up and against the spread. Additionally, trends indicate that the under has hit in 6 of their last 10 contests, suggesting a pattern of lower scoring games when these teams meet. The Bucks could be dealing with roster challenges once again, as star forward Giannis Antetokounmpo is currently listed as questionable for the game. On the other side, the Hawks will continue to be without key players Jalen Johnson and Clint Capela, which significantly impacts their frontcourt depth. Milwaukee is in need of a strong performance to regain momentum in their season, but the same can be said for Atlanta, which is currently experiencing its worst slump of the year. The Hawks have already proven they can compete with the Bucks, as they managed to steal a victory in one of their 2 previous matchups, both of which took place in Milwaukee. The two teams split a pair of games back in December, both hosted by the Bucks. In their most recent meeting, Milwaukee secured an 8-point win. Notably, Khris Middleton played in that game, though his impact was minimal, contributing just 6 points off the bench. However, Milwaukee's new addition, Kyle Kuzma, has proven to be an effective replacement. In 2 games against Atlanta this season, Kuzma has averaged an impressive 24.5 points and 10 rebounds, providing a significant offensive boost for the Bucks. Furthermore, reports suggest that Giannis is increasingly likely to return to action after missing Wednesday's contest. Meanwhile, Atlanta is in the process of integrating multiple new players, which could lead to some early struggles in team chemistry. As a result, the Hawks may face more difficulty adjusting than the Bucks, who are also making roster adjustments but appear to be in a more stable position. Milwaukee has covered the spread in 6 of its last 10 matchups against Atlanta. The Bucks have had an up-and-down season, and with the uncertainty surrounding Antetokounmpo's availability, checking the latest injury updates before placing any bets is advisable. Despite their own inconsistencies, Milwaukee still appears to be in a stronger position than Atlanta, which just underwent a significant roster shakeup. The Hawks parted ways with key contributors, including DeAndre Hunter and Bogdan Bogdanovic, further depleting their roster. Additionally, Jalen Johnson remains sidelined for the season, leaving Atlanta in a precarious situation. Star guard Trae Young now finds himself in a situation reminiscent of the famous empty room scene with Will Smith. Given the instability of Atlanta's roster, it is difficult to back the Hawks with confidence. There is also uncertainty regarding when newly acquired players like Terrence Mann and Caris LeVert will be available to suit up for the team. This game could go either way, but with Atlanta losing DeAndre Hunter and facing major roster uncertainties, Milwaukee seems to have the edge. The Bucks' depth should provide a crucial advantage in this matchup, so the Milwaukee Bucks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Atlanta may struggle to establish rhythm due to its ongoing roster changes and the potential absence of key players. Without Hunter and with new acquisitions unlikely to make an immediate impact, the Hawks will face challenges in executing their offensive sets. Furthermore, their ability to generate second-chance opportunities through offensive rebounds and free throw attempts will be compromised, particularly if Clint Capela remains unavailable. Milwaukee, on the other hand, boasts a top 10 defense that effectively challenges opponents both inside the paint and beyond the three-point arc. The Bucks themselves may experience some growing pains as they integrate Kyle Kuzma, who played a ball-dominant role during his tenure with the Washington Wizards. Losing K.A. Tris Middleton, a franchise cornerstone who spent 12 of his 13 NBA seasons with Milwaukee, is not something to overlook. However, the Bucks remain a talented defensive team, while the Hawks, despite their struggles, rank 4th in the league in forcing turnovers. This defensive ability could pose a challenge for Milwaukee as they adjust to their roster changes. The first two matchups between these teams this season resulted in under outcomes, with the combined scoring averaging 217.5 points per game. Although both teams have capable scorers, neither possesses an elite offensive unit that consistently dominates games. Atlanta ranks 4th in the NBA with 91.7 field goal attempts per game, yet their overall shooting percentage is just 46.1%, highlighting inefficiencies in their offensive execution. The Hawks have also scored 115 points or fewer in 7 of their last 10 outings. Meanwhile, Milwaukee ranks 23rd in field goal attempts per game, averaging just 86.3 shots per contest. The Bucks have scored 112 points or fewer in 3 of their last 5 games. Given that both teams are adjusting to new personnel, a brief period of offensive disjointedness is likely. Additionally, the under has hit in 4 of the last 6 meetings between these two teams, reinforcing the trend of lower scoring affairs. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Philadelphia 76ers versus Detroit Pistons. The Philadelphia 76ers are set to face off against the Detroit Pistons in an exciting Eastern Conference showdown scheduled for Friday night. These two teams have already met twice this season, with each team managing to secure a victory on the road, splitting their season series thus far. The 76ers are coming off a tough loss at home to the Miami Heat, falling 108-101 despite entering the game as slight 1.5-point favorites. Meanwhile, the Pistons are also dealing with the sting of defeat, having lost their last contest at home to the Cleveland Cavaliers by a final score of 118-105. Although Detroit suffered the loss, they managed to cover the spread as 3.5-point underdogs. The injury report for this game is a crucial factor to consider. The 76ers continue to deal with roster limitations, as Andre Drummond has already been ruled out, while Gurskan Yabusele's status remains uncertain, with him being listed as questionable. On the other hand, the Pistons are closely monitoring the availability of their star guard Cade Cunningham, who is also questionable due to a right ankle sprain. Despite dropping 3 of their last 4 games, the 76ers are still viewed favorably by oddsmakers as they enter this matchup as 3.5-point favorites on the road. The primary reason behind this confidence is the anticipated return of superstar big man Joel Embiid, who was absent for Philadelphia's previous game against Miami. If he indeed takes the floor, his presence could be a game-changing factor. Embiid has dominated the Pistons in recent outings, boasting an impressive average of 36 points and 12.4 rebounds per game over his last 5 matchups against Detroit. Additionally, Tyrese Maxey is currently in elite form, having scored 30 or more points in 7 consecutive games. Against the Pistons this season, he has already posted 32 and 28 points in their 2 previous meetings. Philadelphia has historically dominated this head-to-head battle, winning 9 of the last 10 matchups, including 5 victories in their last 6 trips to Detroit. Cade Cunningham is well on his way to making an appearance in San Francisco for the upcoming All-Star Game, an honor he has rightfully earned. However, his participation in this contest remains uncertain due to the lingering ankle injury that has him listed as day-to-day. Even if he does suit up, there is a strong possibility that he will not be playing at full strength, which would be a significant disadvantage for a Pistons team that relies heavily on his offensive contributions. Detroit has cooled off considerably following a strong stretch of basketball over the last 2.5 months. They have gone just 2-5 straight up over their last 7 games and have now lost consecutive home matchups against the Atlanta Hawks and Cleveland Cavaliers. In addition to Cunningham, the Pistons are also dealing with injury concerns for key players such as former Sixer Tobias Harris and sharpshooter Malik Beasley, both of whom are questionable for this game. Beasley, in particular, has been a valuable scoring option for Detroit, averaging 16 points per contest. The significance of this game for the 76ers cannot be overstated. Philadelphia is currently just 1 game behind the Chicago Bulls for the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference playoff race, while the Pistons sit 4 games ahead in the 7th spot. With so much at stake, securing a victory in this matchup would be a massive boost for the Sixers' postseason aspirations. On the flip side, the Pistons could be severely shorthanded if multiple key players are unable to take the floor, which would force them to dig deep into their bench to find productive minutes. Second leading scorer Jaden Ivey has already been ruled out for this game, and with Cunningham, Harris, and Beasley all listed as game-time decisions, Detroit's rotation could be stretched thin. Meanwhile, Philadelphia is finally regaining its health, with Paul George officially back in action and Joel Embiid likely to play following his recent return, where he posted a triple-double in his first game back from injury. Tyrese Maxey has been a consistent force throughout the season and has continued his scoring tier by surpassing the 30-point mark in each of his last 6 games. With Embiid and Paul George both back in the lineup, along with the surging Tyrese Maxey, this game appears to be a very favorable situation for Philadelphia. While it would be helpful to analyze team-wide statistics, the Sixers' numbers have been difficult to assess due to the sheer number of injuries they have dealt with throughout the season, making their overall performance metrics somewhat misleading. Speaking of injuries, Detroit star guard Cade Cunningham, who is averaging an impressive 26 points and 9.4 assists per game, remains questionable with an ankle sprain. If he is unable to play or is limited by the injury, it would be a major blow to Detroit's chances, paving the way for Philadelphia to secure a comfortable victory on the road in Motown. Philadelphia currently occupies the 11th spot in the Eastern Conference standings and understands that every win is crucial in their pursuit of a playoff berth. A victory in this game would bring them one step closer to overtaking Detroit in the standings while also securing the season tiebreaker, a factor that could be extremely valuable if both teams finish the season with identical records. So the Philadelphia 76ers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Philadelphia is finally getting healthy at the right time, as their roster is once again bolstered by the return of all-star caliber players like Joel Embiid and Paul George. This injection of talent will undoubtedly elevate the team's offensive efficiency, as the presence of their stars will not only allow them to score at will, but will also create easier scoring opportunities for supporting players like Kelly Oubre Jr. and other role players who no longer have to shoulder the bulk of the offensive workload. Maxey's red-hot form remains a key storyline, as he appears to be on a personal mission to prove his worth after being snubbed from the All-Star team. His scoring explosion has been remarkable, as he has now recorded 30 or more points in 6 straight contests. On the other side, Detroit has shown signs of improvement, with Cunningham continuing to make strides in his development. In a recent high-scoring affair against the Cavaliers, Cunningham poured in 38 points, showcasing his ability to take over games. The Pistons have gone over the projected total in 2 of their last 3 outings, while Philadelphia has also hit the over in 3 of their last 4 games. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Toronto Raptors versus Oklahoma City Thunder. The Toronto Raptors, currently holding a 16-35 record and positioned 13th in the Eastern Conference standings, are set to go head-to-head against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who boast an impressive 40-9 record and hold the top spot in the Western Conference. This highly anticipated matchup is scheduled to take place on February 7th at the Paycor Center. The Raptors are entering this game on a 2-game losing streak, having suffered a crushing 138-107 defeat on their home court against the Memphis Grizzlies this past Wednesday. On the other hand, the Thunder are riding high on a 3-game winning streak, despite also playing on Wednesday, when they dominated the Phoenix Suns with a resounding 140-109 victory at home. This contest will serve as the second and final meeting between these two teams this season. The last time they faced off was on December 5th, when the Thunder claimed a decisive 129-92 victory on the road. Both teams will be missing key players as they step onto the court for this matchup. The Toronto Raptors continue to be without the services of Jakob Poeltl and R.J. Barrett, both of whom remain sidelined due to injuries. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma City Thunder have ruled out Ousmane Dieng and Cason Wallace, which could affect their depth. Despite these absences, both teams will need to make adjustments and rely on the depth of their respective rosters in order to compensate for these missing pieces and put forth a strong performance in this contest. The Raptors come into this game with morale at a low point, particularly after suffering a lopsided 31-point defeat at the hands of the Memphis Grizzlies in their most recent outing. However, they are unlikely to receive any sympathy from the Thunder, who are entering this game in top form after securing a dominant 31-point victory in their last matchup. The stark contrast in momentum between these two teams will undoubtedly play a crucial role in determining the outcome of this showdown. When it comes to betting, the Oklahoma City Thunder have established themselves as one of the most reliable teams in the NBA, with a league-leading cover percentage of 69.5%. Given that impressive track record, it would be difficult to argue against backing them in this matchup. Additionally, the Thunder have demonstrated a strong ability to cover spreads as heavy favorites, having successfully covered the spread in 12 of their last 17 games when favored by double digits. Conversely, the Toronto Raptors have struggled mightily on the road this season, securing only 4 victories away from home. Furthermore, after making several trades at the deadline, the Raptors could find themselves short-handed in terms of available players for this game. While these factors all point to an Oklahoma City advantage, the near 20-point spread is an exceptionally high number, and such lines are rarely seen in the NBA. In fact, this will mark only the 3rd time since 1997 that the Thunder have been favored by 18 or more points. Given the rarity of such a significant spread, it becomes difficult to confidently place a wager on this game. Despite these concerns, the Raptors have been competitive in recent games, posting a 6-3 straight up and against the spread record in their last 9 contests. So the Toronto Raptors to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Both teams tend to play with an up-tempo style, which could result in a high-scoring affair. The Toronto Raptors currently rank 10th in the NBA in pace, operating at a tempo of 100.06 possessions per game. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma City Thunder play at an even faster pace, ranking 7th in the league with a pace of 100.63 possessions per game. Additionally, both teams have been proficient at generating second-chance opportunities, a key factor in contributing to higher-scoring games. The Raptors rank 9th in the NBA with an average of 14.7 second chance points per game, while the Thunder are not far behind, ranking 17th with 13.9 second chance points per game. Given the high tempo and second chance scoring capabilities of both teams, this game has the potential to surpass the projected total. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Utah Jazz versus Phoenix Suns. The 2024-2025 NBA season continues with an exciting matchup set for Friday, February 7, as the Utah Jazz go head-to-head with the Phoenix Suns in a Western Conference showdown. This highly anticipated clash will take place at Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona, where both teams will look to make a statement. This game marks the final meeting between these two teams in their 4-game regular season series. The Suns have an opportunity to sweep the Jazz for the 2nd consecutive season, a feat that would further solidify their recent dominance over Utah. Phoenix has been nothing short of commanding in this matchup, having won each of their last 9 encounters against the Jazz. The Jazz are currently dealing with injury issues, as both Jordan Clarkson and Colin Sexton remain sidelined, which presents a challenge for Utah's backcourt depth. On the other hand, the Suns are closely monitoring the status of their star players, Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, who are both listed as questionable for this contest. Their availability could play a crucial role in determining the outcome of this matchup. Despite their talent on paper, the Suns have been an unreliable team as of late. They have suffered back-to-back losses against the Portland Trail Blazers and were thoroughly outplayed by the Oklahoma City Thunder just 2 days ago. Their defensive struggles have been apparent throughout the season, making it difficult for them to maintain consistency. Additionally, internal tensions seem to be brewing within the Suns' locker room, as recent reports from ESPN's Ramona Shelburne suggest that trade rumors have created a toxic atmosphere within the team. Even if Lauri Markkanen remains out of the lineup, the Jazz should have a clear advantage when it comes to rebounding. The Suns rank poorly in this category, sitting at 26th in the league in defensive rebound percentage and 27th in offensive rebound percentage. Utah, on the other hand, is a strong offensive rebounding team, ranking 6th in the NBA by averaging 12.1 offensive boards per game. This edge on the glass could prove to be a decisive factor in Utah's ability to control the pace of the game and generate second-chance opportunities. Recent form also favors the Jazz, who have won 2 of their last 3 games, whereas the Suns have struggled significantly, losing 3 in a row in 4 of their last 5 contests. However, it is worth noting that the Suns have won all 3 meetings against the Jazz this season, including 2 victories in Utah and another on the road. Phoenix currently sits at a mediocre .500 record, and with other Western Conference teams making key trades to strengthen their rosters, it remains uncertain whether the Suns will make any moves before the Thursday trade deadline. Despite their injury woes, the Jazz have little to lose in this matchup and are expected to compete hard. Meanwhile, the Suns continue to fall short of expectations, dropping 4 of their last 5 games. The potential absence of both Beal and Durant further complicates their situation, as they are 2 of the team's top 3 offensive contributors. Additionally, Phoenix has been the worst team in the league against the spread, holding an abysmal 17-32-1 against the spread record this season. The front office's failed attempts to trade Beal and Durant could also create lingering tensions, potentially impacting team morale. Given these circumstances, it wouldn't be surprising to see the Suns continue their downward spiral in the standings. While betting on the Utah Jazz may not be the most appealing option, trusting the Suns to cover the spread seems even riskier given their recent struggles. With the uncertainty surrounding key players, it's crucial to check the final lineups before tip-off. However, assuming that both teams remain shorthanded, the Jazz present a compelling case to cover the spread or even secure an outright victory against a slumping Suns squad. So the Utah Jazz to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. When it comes to scoring trends, the Suns tend to play at a slower pace compared to the Jazz, but both teams rely heavily on three-point shooting. Utah ranks 10th in the league in three-point attempt rate, with Phoenix closely trailing at 11th. This emphasis on perimeter shooting could lead to a high-scoring affair, especially given the defensive struggles on both sides. The Jazz have been highly vulnerable on the defensive end, allowing at least 123 points in 7 of their last 10 games. Meanwhile, the Suns have conceded at least 121 points in 4 of their previous 5 contests. Notably, the total has gone over in each of Phoenix's last 5 games and in 6 of their previous 7 meetings against Utah, further reinforcing the likelihood of another high-scoring game. Phoenix's last 5 games have all gone over the total, a reflection of their defensive shortcomings. They are surrendering an average of 114 points per game this season, but that number has skyrocketed to 129 points per game over their last 3 outings. Utah's most recent game also saw a high-scoring outcome, as they managed to put up 131 points despite missing key players. Given both teams' defensive struggles, this game is expected to feature plenty of scoring, with both squads finding success from beyond the arc. A fast-paced, high-scoring battle appears to be in the cards, making the over a strong play for this matchup. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.